Scrambled memories, presumed deaths, ill-informed headwriters. There are a plethora of viable excuses, but the fact remains that there is a fair number of Days of Our Lives characters who entered the scene already hitched and forgot, or just plain neglected, to inform their next significant other. Days of Our Lives, forget me not. Luckily for most of those days folks, getting a divorce proved effortless enough. But for some, intervention, in a plethora of forms, was necessary. The already married, Doug Williams, the unmentioned spouse, Kim Douglas, Addie Horton Olsen so strenuously objected to Doug's, Bill Hayes, pursuit of a very married Julie Olsen banning that she hired a private investigator to dig up as much dirt as humanly possible, and considering that Doug, real name Brent Douglas, was a former con man who'd done hard time, there was a lot to uncover, including his status as a married man. Kim Douglas magnanimously agreed to grant Doug his much sought-after divorce, but she'd later claim, out of spite if nothing else, that she failed to file the documents. That turned out to be a lie, but the Polynesian beauty did wind up an heiress to an island kingdom. If Doug minded missing out on the chance to be royalty, he didn't show it. The already married, Shane Donovan, the unmentioned spouse, Emma Donovan, super spy Shane and prostitute-turned-amateur sleuth Kimberly Brady were making a tentative go at a relationship when cruel fate intervened. Kimberly was an eyewitness to an assassination carried out on U.S. soil by anti-monarchist The Dragon, the very same terrorist responsible for a bombing that had supposedly claimed the life of Shane's heretofore mentioned bride, Emma. Shane made it his mission to avenge Emma's death, but soon learned that the rumors of her demise had been greatly exaggerated. In point of fact, Emma had been kidnapped and brainwashed into becoming an agent of the Dragon. Once freed from the conditioning, Emma proceeded to make Shane and Kimberly's life a misery, with stunts that included selling the couple's son on the black market. The already married, Roman Brady, the unmentioned spouse, Anna Fredericks Brady, never one to let the grass grow under his feet. Roman, then, Wayne Northrop, now, Josh Taylor, proposed to, and married, Anna soon after their meet-cute in a public library. 3 months later, Mrs. Brady vanished into thin air. She re-emerged, years later, at a most inopportune time. Roman was trying to have her declared legally dead so that he might marry Marlena Evans, Deidre Hall, who was none the wiser, and with a salient reminder of her and Roman's amour, 4-year-old Carrie Brady, then, Andrea Barber, now, Christy Clark. The already married, Steve Johnson, the unmentioned spouse, Mariana Toscano Stephen Nichols, was under the impression that his missus had met a tragic, waterlogged fate. Color him and Kayla Brady, Mary Beth Evans, surprised to find Mariana alive and well years later, on the hunt for some family treasure, and in league with Victor Kiriakis, John Aniston. Marina's untimely death, for real this time, at the hands of her sister, Isabella Toscano, freed Steve of any obligation, but it also resulted in Kayla being in the frame, at least temporarily. The already married, Kate Roberts, the unmentioned spouse, Curtis Reed, Victor Kiriakis, John Aniston, and Kate Roberts's, then Deborah Dare, now Lauren Koslow, relationship wasn't exactly a love match, but the latter still intended to ensure she'd become his latest bride, even if that meant marrying Victor bigamously. Curtis Reed was a proponent of his estranged wife's subterfuge, provided she fork over hundreds of thousands of dollars. And Curtis was found plugged full of lead shortly after his blackmail attempt. No one was more grateful than Kate. The already married, Marlena Evans, the unmentioned spouse, Alex North. Marlena may have walked down the aisle several times since debuting on Days of Our Lives in 1976, but none of those ceremonies were actually legally binding. The only wedding that mattered in the eyes of the court was the one that declared her and Alex North, Wayne Northrop, man and wife. The already married, Hope Brady, the unmentioned spouse, John Black Hope, Christian Alfonso, and John, Drake Hogeston, were married to the loves of their life, Bo Brady and Marlena respectively. When they learned an inconvenient truth, they were actually married to each other. As it transpires, the pair were hitched during a time when Hope was mind-controlled to believe that she was an art forger cum thief and John was a mindless stooge known as the Pawn. Days of Our Lives, DOOL, airs weekdays on NBC. Check your local listings for airtimes. For more about what's coming up in Salem, check out all the latest that's been posted on Days Spoilers, and for an in-depth look at the show's history, click here. Ad block test. Why?